Surprise! We actually have a couple more episodes of Let's Play Kingdom Hearts. Although it was technically the credits last episode, there was some stuff that I wanted to show that was optional content. But because I wanted to be at the right level for it and not be over-leveled, say, at End of the World, I saved it for after we did the final boss. So I just picked up from my last save before we went through the door for Ansem. Check out her stats. As you can see, I've been leveling up a lot in preparation for what we're going to do. There's a reason for it, though. We're here at the alchemy shop, and let's see all the stuff that I've alchemized. I've actually been doing quite a lot of synthing items and such. I think you may be impressed at how much I actually got into this side quest. Check it out. 24 out of 25. Only one thing left. The Ultima Weapon. And we have enough for the Ultima Weapon. We have it. We have the best Keyblade in the game. It took an outrageous amount of work to obtain this. Wow, we made all the items possible, Kupo. Making all those items is a blast, Kupo. Come to us anytime you need an item. Wait, not likely. You're pretty good at this, Kupo. We hereby declare you a master synthesist, Kupo. Sora became a master synthesist? Just kidding, Kupo. Okay, if that doesn't... But seriously, if this didn't make me a master synthesist, I don't know what does. It took an outrageous amount of time putting this together. But check out how insanely awesome these new equips are. These are all the amazing things that I've got together from basically getting incredible items through alchemy. Now let's check out all our Keyblades. As you can see, a lot of them are weaker than Oblivion, the one we currently have. Some give us more magic, but far and away the best of the bunch is the Ultima Weapon. Just eclipses all the others by insane amounts. Check it out. Raises our MP by 2, so already best by magic. It just makes everything the strongest. It's got the best reach. It's altogether the strongest Keyblade available in this version of the game, the Ultima Weapon. I know that the final mix has a couple other Keyblades that you can obtain, but I don't believe they're superior to the Ultimate Weapon. They may have just a couple other places where the stats might be higher, but overall, the Ultimate Weapons, even in that edition, is the strongest. Now check it out. We're going to go to Olympus Coliseum, which might seem like kind of a weird choice, but the truth is, in this little world, there's a lot of optional stuff, which I would highly recommend not doing before End of the World, because if you do, you're going to be over-leveled for it, and therefore it won't be as fun. As it is, End of the World isn't actually that tough, in my opinion. At our level, we had no problem taking down Chernobog, and even Ansem didn't put up too much of a fight, I think. He was pretty easy, when all's said and done. The real challenging stuff is here in the Olympus Coliseum, and there are a couple other places in other worlds where tough stuff becomes available. We're going to start here and do stuff according to like the least difficult to the most difficult of the optional stuff. The Hades Cup is where we're going to begin. Now, the Hades Cup isn't, I don't think it becomes available until you seal the keyhole at Hollow Bastion. It's far and away the longest of the cups at the Olympus Coliseum. It's just drastically longer than any of the others. It starts out pathetic, as you can see, but eventually it's going to ramp up and take you through just about every kind of Heartless in the game, including ones at End of the World. So if you don't go to End of the World before doing this match, you'll find that, really, the enemies here are a lot harder. But if you do End of the World first and then come back here, it's not going to be too much of a change once you start encountering those End of the World enemies. But as you can see, we have the Ultimate Keyblade, so the Ultimate Keyblade is going to basically just blaze through everything in its path. It just, like, one-shots just about every single thing we're going to come across. So it's kind of going to be interesting just seeing, like, what takes more than one hit to bring down. If you do this normally, like, without the Ultimate Weapon, the Hades Cup can be pretty difficult to survive, but if at any time you actually end up losing a match, keep in mind that the Hades Cup is literally so long that every 10 matches you kind of get like a checkpoint. So if you want, you can go back to Phil and then just ask to start off from like match number 20 or 30 or 40, or however far it was that you get. Like about every 10 matches there's kind of what could be considered more of a powerful boss type enemy, and by defeating them you get like a checkpoint. That's basically how it works. And of course, other strong boss-related enemies will occasionally appear along the way, like little bits of Garn armor, or whatever, opposite armor. I think at one point you even fight opposite armor like as a regular enemy in this cup. That's how crazy it gets. Man, we're just plowing through everything with this Ultima Weapon. we don't necessarily need to get Donald and Goofy's strongest weapons at this point in the game. I believe that once you have Sora's strongest, there's really no reason to go for the others unless you're like, you really want to be a completionist. But just in case you're wondering how to get them, I think Donald's got Save the Queen, and Goofy has Save the King. And that's kind of supposed to be a reference to, like, King Mickey and Queen Minnie. Yeah, Mickey was the king, as you saw in this game. Wow, actually, come to think of it, during the credits, I didn't talk too much about what was going on at the end of the game. I know there's some stuff that might have been confusing, so hopefully I can try and clear that up here. And wow, I actually did get quite a few nice hits out of that rare truffle. Actually brought down its life bar a little bit. I believe to actually defeat a rare truffle, you need to bring down the life bar 100%, and I think that takes 100 hits, so there you have it. Yuffie. See, here's a kind of like a boss-type enemy that doesn't even show up before the 40th match. I'm assuming the 40th is when the real boss's thing is going to show up. But Yuffie by herself isn't too much of a problem. I believe it was the Pegasus Cup that ended with the match against Yuffie and Leon. I almost said Luffy and Yeon. So she's not hard at all. Little tips to remember, especially this is more relevant if you don't have the special equips that I do. Because it's not just the Ultimate Keyblade itself that's a powerhouse, it's the other synthesized items that you get alongside it that really make a huge difference. Wow, our Keyblade just is deflecting all her knives, her shurikens. Yeah, she can heal herself, in case you didn't know. It's kind of agitating, but we are just like wailing on her. That wasn't even hard at all. I feel sorry for her a little bit. Donald at the end is like, ah, fire! Oh, this is amazing. Oh, Genji shield. See, this would have been a better shield for Goofy than the one we currently have. But like I said, at this point, because we have Sora's ultimate weapon, it really doesn't matter either way. Oh yeah, these guys, real scary. No, I shouldn't, I need to get back on track and talk about what happened with the end of the game. They don't explain it too well. How the Door of Darkness opened up and then light came out instead of darkness, and ended up hitting Ansem, which seems to run contrary to everything we learned about the nature of the Kingdom Hearts world in those last couple of episodes, where I was talking about how it just gets darker and darker the deeper you go. Well, one of the things you have to keep in mind is a very crucial moment earlier when Sora had that random flashback of Kairi's life when she was talking to her grandmother, and then she told her about, like, that old fairy tale about how there used to be light in the beginning, but then people fought over it, and then it drew out the darkness in their hearts. Well, anyway, the light is kind of like, the light is always going to remain down there in the darkness, despite how dark everything is. It's kind of like a metaphor for, like, I guess, redemption despite great evil, or something along those lines. I'm not sure I entirely understand the context. But anyway, the bottom line is, it literally, that children's story actually has to do with part of the nature of the Door of Darkness, is that the way the Door of Darkness is designed is that there's a light barrier intact, which the Princesses of Heart have control over. And even if you use them to open up the door, there's still going to be that light barrier there, separating you from the ultimate darkness. And that's what Ansem got hit by. In other words, Ansem's plan could have succeeded if he just opened the door and then stood out of the way for a little while. But he was an idiot and figured that there was nothing but pure darkness down there. He didn't believe in any semblance of light that could exist. And if he didn't know that fairy tale, he would have had no way of knowing. Oh, so this is what appears after the 40th. So this is the first big boss checkpoint match, Behemoth. Not hard at all by this point. But yeah, the whole reason that Ansem's kind of an idiot, I mean, it might seem like a very stupid mistake for him to make, but the truth is, he's kind of akin to a lot of villains. Like, if you recall, I'm not sure how far you've read the Harry Potter series, incredible book series, pretty good movie series if you discount Order of the Phoenix, but really the books are all where it's at. The books are incredible. And like I said earlier, in the last episode actually, I believe the books are actually better than the Lord of the Rings books by a substantial margin. But the whole point is that Voldemort, just like Ansem, like tends to underestimate the dumbest, smallest things, and that's what screws him over. Like, he doesn't see anything valid in children's stories or believing in things like house elf magic, which ends up being the thing that literally bypasses all his trials and stuff because house elves can work through it and he underestimated them. So Ansem just doesn't hold any stake in children's stories because he believes that his research is the end to everything, and basically he doesn't need any more answers than what sounds really official. So he just overlooked a critical detail in something that seemed pretty trivial. which is understandable when you're dealing with so many big and important things. It's really easy to overlook things that are deceptively simple. So I guess it's kind of like a lesson for like how to do proper villainy, but I'm sure that's not what they were going for. But proper villainy, I suppose, doesn't let anything slide, and checks things out even if they seem insignificant. Really, it's kind of like being an evil version of Sherlock Holmes, I suppose. Oh yeah, and we got a Blizzaga upgraded for Blizzard, and the final strongest version of Blizzard available in the game. You don't really need it, as you saw. For going through End of the World, you don't need all the strongest types of all the spells. You get Thundaga and Blizzaga, I believe, here in the Hades Cup, and I think you get Faraga sometime around when you finish Hollow Bastion, like sealing the keyhole. I forget exactly how that went. I think one of the princesses gives it to you before you go to fight Behemoth there, actually. Well, that was pathetic. Oh yeah, as you can see, it's light out now because the matches have been going on for so long. It's kind of like, it takes literally days for them to finish hosting the Hades Cup. Of course, we're sweeping through it. Normally, I'd say it could take you around an hour, a little bit more probably. It could take you close to an hour and a half to completely finish the Hades Cup under normal circumstances. But these are not normal circumstances because we have the ultimate weapon and incredible upgrades. Just in terms of how many levels we're ahead and all the amazing things that we have from Synthesis. I have to tell you, I don't recommend going for the ultimate weapon because it's such an imbalanced way of playing, I have to say. Sweeping through all these things is not nearly as satisfying as, say, playing through it and taking your time to actually like get through all the matches without being cheap. Because this thing is just like a demolition wand. It's a death stick. This is my boomstick. It just like rips through everything. But the truth is, like, it just takes way too long to get, and it throws off the balance of the game. If I were you, and you want to have the best, most balanced experience of playing through Kingdom Hearts, this is what I recommend. Do what I did earlier, up to, like, End of the World, and then once you go to the Hades Cup, don't bother getting the ultimate weapon. Just go right to the Hades Cup and start there after saving before the door at, where you're going to fight Ansem. Just save there, defeat Ansem, pick up where you left off, and then go to the Hades Cup without going after the ultimate weapon. It took me around 8 hours to achieve this weapon and get everything synthesized. I had a lot of help from game facts, game FAQs, whatever the hell you want to call it. They have a great guide there for where you can find the best places where enemies will drop things for synthesis, including abilities like Lucky Lucky or whatever that's called. If you equip it on multiple party members, I forget exactly like what's the best kind of like set to pick. Like whether you have to leave behind the shield or take the sword or whatever to get Lucky Lucky earlier. Or Pretty Lucky, I forget what it is. But either way, if you have that ability, you're going to start finding rare item drops more frequently. And you need all the help you can get for finding those rare item drops, because sometimes, like, you need to gather multiple really rare ones over and over. Oh, here we're fighting Stealth Sneak. Well, actually, no, it's not Stealth Sneak. It's a weird variation that only appears here at the Coliseum, but for all intents and purposes, it's the same as Stealth Sneak. But look how quickly we rip through its HP meter. See, it is a little bit different from Stealth Sneak. This one's black instead of green. Oh. Yeah, another strange thing about this Heartless is it seems like once you, like, kill it, it stays alive for a little bit longer, and then you need to, like, hit it again to really defeat it. There we go. Kind of like the Burrowing Snaggerts and Pileated Snaggerts in Pikmin 2. Kind of an odd comparison to make, but there aren't many enemies I know that function like that in video games. It's kind of like, I wonder if it's a glitch. And usually it's like the larger enemies, too, that will take a little bit more before going down. Kind of wonder if that's intentional or not. Just because they have so much stamina. Oh, and wow. Take that, wizard. See, normally that thing would take at least a couple hits, but no, not for us. Also, just our HP meter and MP meter are ridiculously nasty. Like, that's disgusting. They're just ridiculously long. So, I'd be surprised if we got anywhere close to, like, critical, even once during the Hades Cup. At our level, we're just powerhouses. I don't mean to brag, but we're just way too strong for this. Even at its toughest, the Hades Cup won't pose a threat. But I figured I'd show you it anyway at normal speed and such, just so you got an idea of what the opposition is like. There are a couple things along the way which will get a little bit more challenging next episode, so I'll run over those in better detail. So we'll continue with optional content next episode. See you then.